Coming to you live from the nation's capital, it's Capitol Hill. I'm your host, Adam Preston, joined for tonight's Roundtable by Stephanie Marshall, host of Liberally Speaking on Sirius XM Progress. Stephanie, I'm glad to have you.
It's a pleasure.
And we're also honored to have House Minority Leader Calvin Ward, Democrat from Arkansas, with us tonight. Congressman, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Adam. Great to be a part of the show.
And before we jump in, there's breaking news coming from the National Weather Service. Hurricane Kate is currently gaining strength in the Atlantic. Our prayers are with everyone in harm's way, and we'll be sure to bring you updates as they come in. So let's start today by addressing the elephant in the room. Both of you recently spoke at the rally in opposition to the Keystone Pipeline. Stephanie, you made some headlines by calling out Democratic leadership for not going far enough on the issue. Do you stand by your statements?
Absolutely, I do. I think we need something drastic, and we need a measured response immediately. We cannot, we can no longer pretend that this isn't a problem. This is a problem that is facing us currently. It is no longer true. It's not something we have to prepare for. This is something that, if we don't take drastic steps now, is going to affect our future.
And you're kind of starting to cut out a little bit because you're joining us by phone. But I, still got your point. Congressman Ward, do you have any comment, any response to Stephanie's statements?
Well, I think two things. I think, number one, I would agree that right now we need to push forward with an environmental policy. I think as a believer, God has given us his good creation to keep and to take care of it. I think that's part of a creation mandate. So for me, it's actually a faith issue, which I don't think a lot of Christians talk about, and we should. But number two, we were fighting specifically on the Keystone thing. When you don't have the majority, it's hard to push forward an environmental narrative. That's something that we should improve on. I don't disagree with that. But for me personally, on the Keystone issue, I was perhaps one of, if not the most vocal opponent against it. Because I think it does irreparable harm, not just to the environment, but to every American in its pathway.
Stephanie, any rebuttal with that real quick?
No, I absolutely agree, and I hope that I can see more from the House Minority Leader, in drafting some legislation in the near future.
Minority for now. I mean, Congressman, even last month we had Breitbart News on, the lead editor of Breitbart News, and he was saying that, a Democratic majority in the House isn't out of the realm of possibility. Are you looking forward to that? Do you think or is that putting the cart before the horse?
I don't want to count chickens before they hatch. That's the first thing I don't want to do. But yes, that is something I'm looking forward to. One of the things that we're seeing is that you have what I would term the Republican three, really being the whips and hijacking the moderate Republicans and moderate conservatism away towards a know-nothing nationalism, that being the gentleman from Texas, the Speaker, and the gentleman from Virginia. And I'm using that term loosely. But we need to get back to a position of looking to the interests of the majority of Americans. I think right now, with the Democratic Party being that big tent, we can absolutely take back the House, and we could pick up seats in the Senate. I'm expecting a big 2018. We're not slowing down, and I don't think we're playing defense. We're playing offense right now.
Stephanie, do you agree with that real quick?
Well, I've talked to a few people about the momentous blue wave we're expecting, and I hope I just hope that the candidates that are elected are progressive candidates who will put forward some proposals like on energy conservation and issues such as that. If it means electing Democrats, that's fine. if it means electing independents, that's all the fine too. And even if there's some Republicans out there who want to come up with some progressive ideals, I would support that. I support progressivism, not any political party.
And let's move real quick to Congress. One of the most contentious issues right now is a bill to make so-called sanctuary cities ineligible for federal funding. Congressman, do the Democrats have, any hope of defeating the bill?
Well, again, I think that depends on if the moderate Republicans are going to bow down to the Republican 3 like they've been doing. I would hope that some have a conscience and realize that this is not the way forward, that know-nothing nationalism is not in the best interest of an American society. Aside from that, again, we're in the minority, so it's tough to block things. I know the gentleman from Alaska has entered an amendment to effectively kill it. I'd like to see that pass. But, again, when the Republican 3 are the know-nothing nationalists, and they're the ones essentially pulling the strings, it's hard for Republicans with a conscience to get out and break away.
This is maybe a side tangent, but would you include President McMillan in your description of Republican leadership?
Absolutely, I would. I would include the McMillan administration, including the vice president, and then the representatives from Virginia, Texas, and the Speaker of the House from New York. I think those, when I say the Republican 3, I'm specifically meaning the House, but yes, they are and have shown to be know-nothing nationalists. And, of course, that term know-nothing is not insulting their intelligence. That's just a historical term for what they've adopted. However, I think that those 5 men are pulling the strings, and that is what we're going to see. I think what we need to see is moderate Republicans asking, where is my party going, and are these people who actually support my ideals? And I'll go back to Keystone just as an example because I think it's important, and I said this. What Keystone does, other than the fact that it's going to leak, we know that it's already leaked, and the damage done is far more than what the Speaker said in his speech. We have shown that. But what they're supporting is land seizure by a private company, and that's happened. That's not something that will happen. That's something that has happened. I'm from a pretty conservative state. Arkansas is pretty red, and the fact that the House Minority Leader is from Arkansas is a historic moment in and of itself. However, that's not a conservative ideal. That is a completely foreign ideal to either conservatism or progressivism, that a private business should be able to come and not purchase land. That would be one thing, and that's an individual case-by-case basis, but take it. And the government stand back and just say, well, what are you going to do? That's horrible. That is offensive to me. As someone who sits as a progressive moderate, that is preposterous. And I found that completely irreconcilable with what I have known to be republicanism. So, yeah, there's a bigger issue as far as ideology of the party on the opposite that is just completely astounding to me. And I laugh not because it's funny. I laugh because I'm just appalled.
Describe yourself as a moderate progressive. It's an interesting term. As such, I'm interested.
Sounds like an oxymoron to me.
It does, but you seem to live it out, and so we're seeing a good example of it. I'm particularly interested to get your comments on this. There's been some folks out there that have been disappointed that the Democrats haven't put forward any gun control legislation in response to the recent mass shooting. Is there a reason for this?
I think there's some that's in the works by the gentleman from Alaska. What we've wanted to do is make the right decisions, and not. I think the one thing that moderates and conservatives expect from us is to just be the big let's grab all the guns, just throw them away, and let's call it what it is. And I don't want that. That's not a place where I want to go. Where I'm willing to go and very open to going is closing up gun loopholes, especially with the gun trade shows. I think that is a huge, huge issue. I think a federal database of gun owners is good. I don't think that infringes on anyone. Knowing who has them is perfectly acceptable. And I think a waiting period to make sure that the right people who can own guns should own guns, and the people who shouldn't have guns can't have guns, is a great step forward. We're working on that legislation. Again, it's very difficult when you're in the minority. There are common sense steps, though, that I think we can take.
Thank you. Stephanie, let's go ahead and bring you back in this. Do you think that what the minority leader is talking about is going far enough, or are you going to press for, to see more from your pulpit?
I would definitely like to see more than just basically a concession and saying, okay, well, we'll think about giving you a waiting period, and I think maybe we should close the gun show loophole. I'd say I believe the last Gallup poll had 80% who are in favor of a 30-day waiting period to buy any kind of firearm. It shouldn't be limited to just certain kinds like the Brady bill was. We should go full bore on this, because if 80% of Americans are with us, that's a pretty big majority to take to the election booth with us. And also, we need to get rid of handguns and other kinds of dangerous firearms like semi-automatic weapons.
Congressman Ward, are you prepared to receive criticism from the left as well? You seem used to it.
I'm always willing to accept criticism from whoever's willing to give it. I'll be the first one to say, I'll be the second one to say I'm not a perfect person. My wife will be the first one to say it. But I'm not unwilling to do two things. I'm not unwilling to hear a position out or to take criticism. And I want to clarify, I'm not saying we should think about putting these bills up. I think we should put these bills up. It's taken us some time, and we've slow-played it, and I'll agree to that. That's understandable. We're wanting to make sure that it's not seen as a reaction, but that we're making good, right steps. However, again, I do want to reiterate, we know that whatever bill we put up, even if it's the most common sense bill, the most bipartisan bill, it's not going to the floor. We've seen that. And for all the talk that the president gave at the beginning of session of bipartisanship and working together, quite frankly, and forgive me, that was a load of bull. And I mean that. That was a load of bull. He did not mean that. And we've seen
we're in agreement, Congressman.
I'm sorry, the Republican brand of bipartisanship is Republican bullyship, because what they want is do what we say, do when we want it, and don't disagree with us. If you disagree with us, you're unpatriotic and un-American, and I completely disagree with that. We know that because what we've done is there's been bills that have passed that we've taken our bills, attached them, they've gotten full agreement from both sides, and we've passed bills because we've attached them to other bills. I mean, to me, it's not bipartisanship, it's bullyship. So I don't want to hear any talk of, well, we should just be bipartisan. I'd love to be. I would absolutely love to be. I want to work together to get common good things done. The issue is that, again, we have the Republican three who are absolutely unwilling to work with Democrats. And we see that because the majority of the bills that have gone forward have been bills that the Speaker has written. That is undeniable. It cannot be disputed. So, no, I don't want to hear any talk of bipartisanship. So we have to be strategic with what bills we put up. And here, I'll just throw all my cards on the table. If we get to 2018 and we take the over majority of the House, it's not going to just be whatever bills Ward puts up or whatever bills that any Democrat puts up. I'm willing to have floor access. That's being more gracious than Republicans have been, but we're better than that. We're better than the bully tactics. So have we not gone far enough on environment and gun control? Probably so. I would agree to that criticism. But it's not because we don't want to see those things happen. It's because we have realistic understanding of what will see the floor and what won't. So that's what criticism you have, what looks like, and I can see looking to my friends on the left, what looks like not trying to do anything is being realistic with what's actually going to get on the floor, and what actually will get on the floor from a Democrat is nothing. We could pass a huge tax cut, put a huge tax cut up, that won't do anything. We could put up a national voter ID law, and that won't get on the floor because that's just Republican pride at this point. Not that we have any plans to do that, but I'm just making my point.
And on that point, Stephanie, some have criticized you for being, so critical of National Democrats, saying that you're, in essence, just helping the Republicans. Do you have any concern that you're actually, now that you're in the national spotlight, that you're hurting liberal voters more than actually helping them?
The way I look at it is I'm not trying to hurt or attack Democrats or Republicans. I'm trying to cut through the rhetoric and hyperbole that we've been getting from candidates lately. I'm trying to get candidates to run issues-oriented campaigns. I think people should vote with their heads and their hearts. However, I don't think they should vote for a candidate just because they have a D or an R next to their name. In short, I'm here to boost up. I'm not here to boost up the Democratic Party, who's basically forgotten the benefit of social programs and ideals we fought so hard for in the New Deal.
But there's no, and if I can push back on that a little bit, there's no denying that you call yourself a progressive, and that's, probably a good title. But there's no denying that most progressives vote for Democrats.
Well, and as long as there's a progressive running, I think as long as they're a Democrat, that's fine. But we should be voting for progressives. We should be voting based on the issues, not on if they're a Democrat or Republican. That's my issue. If there's an independent out there who better identifies with you as a person, I say go ahead and vote for that person.
Cool. Thank you. And before we wrap up, as usual on this program, let's go ahead and give each of you an opportunity for a parting shot. Stephanie Marshall, back to you. You can go first.
I just want to see the Democratic Party that I used to love and admire come back, stop being afraid of the bullies in Congress, and actually stand up, make some impassionate speeches, and get behind something. What have they really gotten behind? What has changed? What have Democrats done that makes people stand up and say, you know what, I want them in office next term? They haven't really done anything to make people stand up and say that. That is what I want from my Democratic Party, and that is when I will be proud to re-register as a Democrat again, if and when that happens.
Thank you. Minority Leader Ward, 60 seconds over to you.
I always get in trouble for parting shots, but we'll try this. I was asked by a questionnaire from Breitbart what I thought about American education, federal involvement, and test scores. And he wanted to give the shot that I didn't give any evidence. What I said, and I think what is important of what I actually said, not what he heard, is that when we focus on test scores, we're focusing on the wrong thing. We've done test scores, and we've pushed back. And really, I think we've left no child untested, not no child left behind. What I'd like to see is to make sure that we have graduates who are either prepared for college or prepared for the workforce. I want to see students that are prepared for life, not just prepared to bubble in C down the line or to write out a perfectly fluent essay. We can't put a grade on teachers being invited to quinceañeras or being invited to free clinics. We need to test the test, so to speak. I think when you leave that part out, I sound cold, but when you include that, the education ideas make a little bit more sense. Also, Woo Pig.
And that does it for us here tonight on Capitol Hill. Capitol Hill is a free government simulation. Play our game at TedderVision.com/Capitol Hill. I am Adam Preston saying good night. We'll see you next time.